everyone. This is Ting Ting. I'm the CMO for ION. I'm your host today. So today I want to introduce Mike and also Darling. So Mike is our co-founders in ION, and also Darling is our moderator for the ION's Italian group. So I'm very happy to have everyone here this evening. So I'll just let Mike take over to introduce himself.
Yeah, thanks, Ting Ting. Ciao a tutti. I'm Mike, one of the original members of ION. And back when the concept of a people-driven, demystified control of personal energy was dreamed up, I'm proud to be part of this as a true mission-driven group, because we believe that we're actually in a race against climate change. And we need something like ION to be massively parallelly just deployed. And my background's in telecom networks and most recently in cybersecurity in that space.
Ciao a tutti, sono Mike, uno dei membri originali di IOEN. Sono orgoglioso di far parte di questo gruppo che ci vede tutti in una corsa contro il cambiamento climatico. Abbiamo bisogno di una soluzione come IOEN che possa essere implementata in parallelo in modo massivo. Il mio background è nelle reti di telecomunicazione e recentemente nella sicurezza informatica.
Okay. I think Darling finished the translation. I don't understand very well, but I think roughly I know you have finished translated what Mike just said. Cool. Then to continue this session quickly, so that we can jump into the meat of the session. So I'm going to continue with the questions that have been submitted by a number of people that Darling have collected. So jump to the questions with what is ION's next objective and what are the obstacles separating us from it?
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'll just mention briefly that we're also on the path to list on tier 1 crypto exchanges for ION, the token. And we're actually getting bigger players now reaching out to us. Our legals are working through to prove that we are a true utility and that will pass regulations in places like the US. But in terms of technically, our objective in phase 2 from our roadmap is where we are now. And you can sum it up as to spread the word. And we're finding a working model to grow the community. We're getting there with community managers and ambassadors. Our recent request for these had replies from everywhere, every continent, except for maybe Antarctica. And we believe we've hit on the right way to do this in something that you'll hear about called ION World. And we've observed the most engaging way to attract devs and people with good ideas is to create a game. So we did. And the great thing about ION World is that it'll just keep getting better as people contribute to it. So right at the moment, and you'll see it really soon, is a basic 2D game, but it'll become full 3D, adding more features and places. And something that is very cool is that you can start to substitute real world solar batteries into the game in what's called a digital twin. So keep track of ion.world website that has been reserved, and you'll be happy to know that was us that reserved it.
Siamo sulla buona strada per essere quotati sui principali exchange e i giocatori più grandi ci stanno contattando. Inoltre, i nostri legali stanno lavorando per dimostrare che siamo una vera utility, in modo da poter passare le normative in paesi come gli Stati Uniti. L'obiettivo attuale nella tabella di marcia è quello di spargere la voce e trovare un modello di lavoro per far crescere una community attiva. Ci stiamo arrivando con la richiesta di community managers e ambassadors, per i quali abbiamo avuto risposta da quasi tutti i continenti. Non solo. Abbiamo osservato che il modo più coinvolgente per attirare sviluppatori e persone con buone idee è creare un gioco. E così abbiamo fatto, presentando ION World. La cosa grandiosa di ION World è che può continuare a migliorare, da un gioco 2D al 3D completo, aggiungendo più funzioni e luoghi, e qualcosa di molto interessante, sostituire il solare e le batterie nel gioco, un vero e proprio gemello digitale.
The next questions that we have collected from the community is why should someone choose ION over a centralized company that also works with microgrids?
That's a really well-phrased question, Andrea. We're finding a recurring strong theme emerging is privacy, and our recent projects all have a GDPR component in the EU. So any centralized company is susceptible to cyber attacks, especially if customer databases are stored there. And with our tech, personal data stays with the agent. Our main focus in ION is to keep track of value transfer. And this is true at a macro level and also in the microgrid. So we're talking about payments and billing. not people who build the grids or the distribution lines, although they are participants in ION. So what's cool is, imagine that no transaction is too small. If you want to have a hot shower and you have a Internet of Things tap, it can buy energy from your solar-powered neighbor. This means millions and millions of micropayments. So at some point, even though the very, very large central computer is going to have scaling issues, it starts to pass the costs on to others. And it just won't be able to keep up at some point when there's billions of transactions happening. So Google Cloud is large, but it comes at a cost. And so we have privacy, scalability, and the third concern is resilience. Your cloud provider may be in a safe, secure data center, but if there's another extreme weather event, it wipes out the access to it for you. And a little known fact is that holochain, the technology we use in microgrids, will choose your internet connection last if others are available. So a community cut off from the world by floods or fires can still operate locally, will not have to rely on one node. Its mesh will carry on. So all these are selling points for Web3, and we believe our technologies are closest to meeting those ideals.
Un tema molto ricorrente oggigiorno è quello della privacy. I nostri progetti più recenti hanno tutti una componente GDPR. Qualsiasi azienda centralizzata è suscettibile ad attacchi informatici, specie se i database dei clienti sono archiviati lì. Con la nostra tecnologia i dati personali rimangono con la gente. Inoltre, l'obiettivo di IOEN è tenere traccia di ogni trasferimento di valore, quindi pagamenti e fatturazione. Immagina quindi che nessuna transazione sia troppo piccola. Metti anche ad esempio una doccia calda. Stiamo parlando di milioni e milioni di microtransazioni. Ecco perché anche la scalabilità diventa un aspetto fondamentale. Il terzo aspetto è quindi la resilienza. Il tuo provider cloud potrebbe trovarsi in un data center sicuro, ma cosa succede se un altro evento meteorologico estremo cancella il tuo accesso adesso? Un fatto poco noto è che Holochain sceglierà la tua ultima connessione internet se non ne sono disponibili altre. Quindi una comunità tagliata fuori dal mondo da inondazioni e incendi può ancora operare localmente e non dovrà fare affidamento sul nodo.
Okay, cool. So next question is, in a future environment of full country adoption, is it possible to imagine someone having solar panels at home and using his credit to charge his electric car during the day in the city?
Yeah, absolutely. The cool thing about electric cars or EVs is that they work the other way. You can drive to an office and someone can buy from your EV to charge their car or device, or you can set the percentage of your EV capacity to power your house at night. So bi-directional chargers are already available now, and in Australia, they're about US $2,000. But like everything else in this space, the price is falling rapidly. So the opportunity we have always seen is keeping score. If the value in the form of electricity is transferred from one party to another, they should be compensated. And an entire economy can be set up, which can be large or at a community level. And we're pretty excited with the possibilities.
Assolutamente sì. Nel caso dei veicoli elettrici la cosa può persino funzionare nel senso opposto. Qualcuno potrebbe persino acquistare con crediti dal tuo veicolo elettrico caricando il proprio o usandolo per ricaricare dei dispositivi. Oppure puoi impostare la percentuale della capacità del tuo veicolo elettrico per alimentare la tua casa di notte. I caricatori bidirezionali sono ora disponibili e in Australia costano circa $2.000, destinati comunque, come ogni cosa in questo ambito, a calare di prezzo. Si può creare un'intera economia, che può essere grande, o restare a livello comunitario. Siamo piuttosto entusiasti delle possibilità.
Awesome. Okay, let's go for the next questions. Let's suppose a scenario of two different microgrids connecting together. How do you manage to avoid a destabilization of the inner balance in the single grid? If the second, for example, is less efficient or stable or requires a lot more energy to work properly?
Hey, a microgrid question. My first question to that would be, why are the microgrids connected together? They have a few recognized nodes. One is to connect to a national grid. Second one is what's called an embedded network. And the third is an island or standalone mode. And of these, while the regulations change in the developed world, the second two are the more attractive ones. Islands or community microgrids are a good fit for the developing world. And we have our 100 Grids initiative with a few places signed up like Bangladesh and Liberia. ION partners with electrical engineers who deal with the actual design and deployment of the physical equipment and the energy flow. So from our point of view, if microgrid 2 is microgrid 2 feeding microgrid 1, we would treat these each separately. The main concern in this case would be power quality issues, where FCAS, which stands for Frequency Control Ancillary Services, attempt to keep phase and power at either 50 hertz or 60 hertz. And we would have to leave that to the experts. Our main concern is that if the power being delivered is poor, that the service level agreements are being met and to ensure there's fair value being captured.
La mia domanda è perché dovrebbero collegarsi? Le microgriglie hanno alcune modalità riconosciute. La prima si collega a una rete nazionale, la seconda è quella che viene chiamata una rete incorporata e la terza è isola o modalità autonoma. Di queste, le ultime due sono le più interessanti. Le microgriglie modalità isola si adattano bene ai paesi in via di sviluppo e abbiamo la nostra iniziativa 100 griglie con alcune iscrizioni in luoghi come il Bangladesh e la Liberia. IOEN collabora con ingegneri elettrici che si occupano della progettazione e dell'implementazione effettive delle apparecchiature fisiche e del flusso di energia. Perciò, se la microgrid 2 alimenta la microgrid 1, dal nostro punto di vista andranno trattate in modo separato. La preoccupazione principale in questo caso sarebbero i problemi di qualità dell'alimentazione, che però lasceremo ai nostri esperti con cui collaboriamo. Mentre la nostra preoccupazione sarebbero le parti che soddisfano gli accordi sul livello di servizio e garantire che il valore equo venga registrato.
Awesome. Fantastic. Next, can ION become a full substitute of the common energy system we have today? And if so, how will grids manage the priority of who needs energy first in critical situations? Example, hospitals during blackout.
Yeah, it's happening now. Australia in the last few days has just experienced a historic, unprecedented event where the Australian energy market operator suspended the entire wholesale electricity market because the private fossil fuel generators were refusing to their request to supply electricity. Australia stupidly sells all of its energy offshore, so we have plenty of gas available. It's just that the big companies take it away and incidentally don't pay any tax either. So there are growing communities around the world with islanded microgrids that do not require external sources. We're also heavily involved in a few community battery projects, which is a perfect ION use case. Batteries are still expensive, but the situation is changing rapidly. So to answer your question, microgrids running ION can set up their own rules of the game, which include business decision on who gets powered first. Even using the existing power grids, we did a simulation a few years ago where the failure of a transformer in a suburb caused a call to arms to all houses. And the more energy not used by these houses were rewarded to avoid the blackouts completely.
Sì, sta succedendo proprio adesso in Australia. Nei giorni scorsi l'Australian Energy Market Operator ha sospeso l'intero mercato elettrico all'ingrosso perché i produttori privati di combustibili fossili si rifiutano di fornire elettricità. Ci troviamo quindi con un sacco di gas e carburante, ma le aziende se lo portano via senza neppure pagare le tasse. Ci sono comunità in crescita in tutto il mondo con microgriglie isolate, che non richiedono fonti esterne. Siamo anche coinvolti in alcuni progetti per le batterie comunitarie. Per rispondere, quindi, le microgriglie che usano ION possono stabilire le proprie regole del gioco, che includono decisioni aziendali su chi ottiene l'energia per primo. Questo persino utilizzando reti elettriche già esistenti. Qualche anno fa abbiamo fatto una simulazione di una chiamata alle armi causata dal fallimento di un trasformatore in una periferia. La possibilità di gestire l'erogazione ha permesso di evitare il blackout.
Wow, darling, you are doing real good. Okay, next question. Is there anything the community can do to facilitate ION's adoption? Is there any initiative we can start as a community to help the process in our country? And if so, what approach would you suggest?
Yes, please. My suggestion is to contact us on our socials or via email and introduce yourself. We have a presence on Twitter and in Telegram, and we do have a global channel, a trading channel, and numerous language channels, including & ION_Italia. If you want deeper conversations, join us on Discord for development or project ideas. You'll see in our roadmap, we show dev camps, and we've been doing some planning, and ION World comes along, we are orienting towards that. So you'll start to see suggested tasks to work on these in GitHub. And the first one is some easy graphic updates to the game. And there'll be a bounty, so there will be rewards for helping us out. we hope to set up physical meetups and attend more conventions in the future.
Sì, molto volentieri. Il nostro consiglio è di contattarci sui social o via email e presentarvi. Siamo presenti su Twitter e su Telegram abbiamo un canale globale, un canale di trading e numerosi canali linguistici, tra cui IOEN Italia. Per conversazioni più approfondite su idee di sviluppo e suggerimenti per il progetto, potete inoltre raggiungerci sul canale Discord. Cominceremo inoltre a focalizzarci maggiormente su IOEN World e per questo, su GitHub, pubblicheremo diversi compiti nei quali la community potrà darci una mano, a partire da alcuni semplici aggiornamenti grafici. Speriamo inoltre di organizzare meetup fisici e partecipare a più convention in futuro.
Yes, awesome. And we basically have collected pick a few questions of all the questions that we have collected, and we are actually looking forward to meet everyone in Italy in future, really. So so one way or another, we really hope that you can help us to spread the word about IOEN and then bring more friends and community and friends and families to join our IOEN at Italia group on Telegram, and then help us expand our community group in Italy.
Sì, assolutamente. Saremo molto felici di conoscervi tutti anche nella comunità italiana e vi ringrazio molto per seguirci e soprattutto apprezziamo molto il fatto che vogliate far ampliare la community italiana facendo conoscere IOEN ai vostri amici, parenti e familiari.
Yes, and that's all for today. Mike, you want to do a bit of closing before we wrap up for today?
I always appreciate talking to everyone, and it's really interesting talking to all the different groups around the world and the enthusiasm. And I think everyone shares the concern we have for the planet. And like I say, we're very mission driven. So please join us, and we'll continue to find ways to help you join us.
Ho apprezzato anche io molto partecipare, è molto interessante vedere come si può comunicare con i diversi gruppi nei diversi paesi. Siamo tutti mossi da una grande missione, quindi sì, unitevi a noi in questa missione. Grazie.
Okay, so I'll see you guys next time.
Bye now.
Bye guys.